friends, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles, and I have a bunch of scraps on my desk, so that means it's time for the Wednesday weekly 15-minute craft challenge. So this is just where I see what I can make with scraps, and a lot of these are even full sheets of papers that I just printed and have not yet used, and then there's some bits and pieces. So I will see what I come up with today. Thank you for joining me. If you're new, welcome. And if you're one of my returning subscribers, thank you. You guys are awesome. All right, so all I'm going to do is set the timer and then start crafting. The point isn't to stress anyone out, especially me. The point is to help us remember we can create beautiful things with a small amount of time. And for me, crafting and being in my craft room with all my papers is definitely relieves stress. But sometimes I don't have hours and hours. And so this is just to remind me I can do short blocks of time and still have fun. So that's the point. Let's see, where is the timer? There it is. I don't know why my watch has gone to that format. I need to figure that out because it takes me a longer time to find the timer. Okay, it goes by fast. Here we go. Okay. Sometimes it helps me to kind of stack some things. Ooh, look at that piece. Ooh, I ran that through a embossing folder. Okay. All right. The first thing that is jumping to my mind is, and I don't think I've made these in a while, is let's make some scrappy pads. And let's see how many I can make, and then also make them look cute in the 15 minutes. All right. So I definitely want to use this piece, and again, for time's sake, I am going to be doing a lot of tearing, and I'm not going to overthink my papers or anything. I'm going to do one that's kind of tall and skinny to start with, and then I'm going to do this one that is, you know, more just like a rectangle and square size pieces. So let's see. And I'm going to do a piece like this. And I'll probably use another piece in here too, but let's turn that one that way. And we can use little cards. It doesn't have to be, you know, just paper, and they can be, you know, all different colors. What I love to do is I like to give these as gifts because it's kind of fun to get somebody else's scraps, but I also like to have these on hand in journals for when I want to do more work in that journal. It's kind of fun to tuck these in the pockets and be able to have papers to play with and collage with. They're also great just as little notepads. Let's tear a piece for this one and for this one. And I'll hopefully have time to make more than just two. But again, you can add a lot of papers, or you can just do a few. If I, here's some book page. I was going to say, I also like to sometimes include some book page. This looks like these are from my sewing book. Very nice. I love the color of this paper in particular. And again, it is fun to have different lengths. So this one can be a little bit larger, and we'll get this one in here like that. Let me find something else to put with that. It's a little bit longer, and then I'm going to start putting there's lots of different ways now we can bind these. So I'll show you a couple of different options, and some have a little more finished look, and you know, some are a little more rustic. I want one more piece to hang in there. Let's do this, and we'll give it a torn edge. And a lot of times I don't even like tear them down like this. I gave it a torn edge, and look, it is shorter than what I wanted. So guess what? We'll do one more. There we go. Okay. Now, one option is I can like use my Crop-A-Dile, and I'm going to use the big hole, and I can do like 2 holes like this, and we're going to put a piece of ribbon through. This one, I'm going to show you an idea to make a cute topper for it. So you can use any, you know, any ribbon or whatever you have on hand. I'm just grabbing something that is on my desk. And I'm going to just tie a bow to the front. And there you go. Sometimes if I'm going to give this as a gift, I'll decorate the front a little bit, you know, the front page. You can also, like, again, if you're going to be giving these to someone, if you have like a fun stamp collection, it might be fun to stamp a few images on the papers, you know, all kinds of things. But there we go. There's a scrappy pad. Okay, this one I'll just leave like this. It won't have quite as many pages, but let's say I want something across the top to make it look special. So let's get a torn edge, and I didn't make that very thick, so I'm going to do it like this. And I'm just going to wrap it around like that, okay? But before I do that, and of course I don't mind some staples, but I am going to put 2 staples in there, and I'm going to then just put a little topper on it. And we'll use our scissors to trim it off. And then I'll just glue it down, and it just gives it a little bit of a finished look. Very sweet. All right. And again, if you want to get fancy, I don't know how fancy this is, but let me grab one of these overlay stickers. You know, you can start decorating the front some too, if you would like. I was looking for a flower. Those are Christmas flowers. Ooh, pumpkins. Let's put a pumpkin on there. There we go. So those are 2 easy scrappy pads that we can make. Now, if you want, you can, I like them to be scrappy, so that's what I'm going to do. But you could cut a bunch of papers to the same size and make, you know, make a notepad that has, you know, that where they're all kind of happy together. All right, let's tear this like that. And I'm gonna get a piece under here. I like having all different kind of lengths and widths and get a little bit of an idea maybe of what's going to be in here. It makes me quite happy. Let's do that. Why not, right? And ooh, what's this? I'm just finding all kinds of things. So, and I don't ask me where these came from. I don't know. Some may just be my own test prints when I am working on digital kits, or it can be, you know, from kits that I've purchased, or from the design teams I'm on. And it's just sometimes hard to keep it straight. Like big kits, like some of the Pink Monarch ones that I work with, I will keep those sorted like by the kit, by the month or whatever. But, you know, not always. Not always. Okay, I'm going to do something a little different on this one. Let's try to at least get the top manageable. I think I have everything grabbed. Okay, so then another idea for the topper is we could glue a piece of fabric or ribbon or lace or something across the top. This is part of that blouse I'm cutting up to use the fabric, and it has the little button. So I like that. Let's see, I hope my hot glue is ready. Looks like it is. There we go. If you're enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up. Drop me a comment if you are new, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, it's great to have you. And again, I am not doing anything that takes a lot of time. There was already a button there. I'm just going to glue. I've got some buttons sitting here. Just randomly grabbing them out of the little bin. And we're just going to glue a few down like that. Very cute. So I could have, wrapped a piece of fabric around, but we don't have to. The other thing you do is you can actually attach these to a journal page and they will look great. And again, then that paper can be used in a journal or, for other projects. Okay, let's keep going and see what we can find. And then sometimes I even find fussy cuts that got caught up in my scrap pile. So we will use them. Put that in there. I'm kind of going back and forth using my regular ruler and my tear ruler. Let's cut this one or tear this one a little bit shorter. But you can really bust through a bunch of scraps and then have something that's kind of fun to play with, I think. I hope you guys agree. Another ruler for this one. Has all the leaves. And some of these are from my own paper kits. Just lots of things. Okay. So we can also do a different style of ribbon topper. I'm going to use my, all my tools are flying out. I'm going to use the slot punch. I don't think it's too thick to go all the way through. Good, it wasn't, but I could have, cut them. So now what we can do, instead of, threading the ribbon through and tying a bow, is we can just use a piece of ribbon like this. I do this at the top of tags all the time. Now I'm going to knot it just because it is kind of, this ribbon tends to slip a little. There we go. I'll give it a haircut. So it's a different kind of ribbon topper, just with one hole. You could use a regular hole punch. You don't have to have the slot. And then sometimes I have, like, this is quite a bit of book page from some of my favorite books, but again, we can do several pages that kind of match up. Look how that pretty lace, the illustration of the lace. How pretty is that? I think this is from Sylvia at Las Mimis Amores. I don't think I'm saying that right, but that's how I like to say it. I'm sure it makes her chuckle. Again, we'll just get several different beautiful pieces like this. Now, what do we want to do to this one for the top? Let's get a little something else right there. Let's do another one where we wrap it. And we'll make it maybe fancy with some ribbon and some other things too. So what do we want to wrap it with? Maybe a piece of this. This is pretty. I'll go ahead and tear this to about the width that I need it. We'll fold it in half. Let's have the torn edge on this side. Okay. Whoops. This is probably one of my most favorite ways of doing it. I just think it makes it look like a real pad of paper. Of course, it is a real pad of paper, but I like that. And maybe we can put a word. You should see the mess. Why don't we just do build a new life? I'm not going to use the whole phrase. It says it's okay to start over and build a new life, but I'm going to just put build a new life right here. I have 50 seconds, so I'm going to keep going and make this one super cute until the timer runs out, or what I think is super cute. There's lots of threads on this piece of rickrack. All right, so let's stick this down. It's not, I didn't cut it long enough to go all the way across. That's okay. I have an idea of what I want to do. These little threads. Okay, so there's that. And then, don't think I want that button. I had this out, I think when I was doing the library card video recently. Ha! I love that. Let's use that one. There goes my timer, but we're still gonna glue this down. It would have been fun to make a little cluster for this corner too. Okay, let's see how many I made. I wasn't counting because I was trying to move quickly. Okay, so in 15 minutes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scrappy pads. See how you could just go through a big pile of scraps? If you sat here for like an hour, you could go through a huge pile. And you can, of course, add more papers. I love them. Okay. That is our 15-minute challenge for today. Don't forget to use the hashtag weekly15 if you decide to play along and see what you can make in 15 minutes, or with whatever time you want to set aside. Some people have said, maybe you should give yourself 20 minutes. Sometimes my projects are a little more involved. This one was just super fun, so I hope you liked it too. Have a great day, everybody.